Are we? It says uploading. Are we ready?
Hmm. Oh, maybe that's constant. Yeah, I think we are live and good to go. So, as we are waiting for a few more people to join, it would be great to have everybody put in the public chat a little bit about yourself. Introduce whether you're a clinician, what sort of setting that you work in, whether you're a non clinician. Would love to know who we have here.
It threw me off. I don't know what we had too much feed. All right, ready?
I see your other screen is still here. It's just frozen.
All right, let me
If the
share it.
two of you. I just asked whoever is joining currently just to start putting into the public chat a little bit of an introduction, type of role, whether you're PT, OT, non clinician, what sort of setting you work in. Would love to know who we have joining.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Getting any responses right now?
Not yet. Looks like people are still trickling in. Yeah, I see a couple different chats, but public chat would be the place to put in any answers, questions, etc. Give people a couple more minutes.
Yeah, it's lunch break, huh?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we can jump right into things. And as people are still joining, yeah, feel free to put in the chat um, who you are, what your specialty is. If you're a clinician, PT, OT, non-clinician, whether you're in academia. I saw kind of a wide range of settings in the attendee registration. So I'd love to know who we have joining. But as we get into things, just wanted to start things off with an introduction of Neuro Rehab VR if we haven't met you before. We are a fully immersive virtual reality rehabilitation platform that partners with a variety of different settings: inpatient, outpatient, academia, skilled nursing. We right now are the only solution on the market that integrates physical therapy, including gait and balance, occupational therapy, some speech therapy, cognitive, eye tracking, mental health, all on one single platform. So I know that we met a couple of you at AOTA, but we're excited to, continue some of those conversations about how innovative technology solutions are impacting the space of rehab and hear thoughts from the audience along the way as well.
Yeah, we're just gonna be talking about the patterns we saw, the questions we had. There's a lot of overlapping topics here, and I enjoyed the AOTA conference. I thought that was a lot of fun. We got some great questions, and we had a lot of fun with the videos, with getting them into the headset and trying out the activities.
Yeah, absolutely. And this webinar, it's really designed to be super collaborative. Would love to hear any thoughts or questions that come up throughout the conversation today. Any comments, questions can be thrown into the public chat, and we'll kind of just be monitoring it as we go. But like Chris said, our goal is kind of to just revisit some of the patterns that we saw throughout the AOTA conference and just have a conversation around some of those things. So in terms of what we're hoping to cover today, we have a little bit of an agenda of, again, just covering some of those patterns and topics that frequently came up at the conference, but then also that we hear on a day to day basis.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was, you know, when people put on the headset, they got to try it, and it was more the immersiveness of virtual reality. If they've never tried it, I mean, the environment guides you. Essentially, they started acting naturally, right? They just in a simulated environment, they started reaching, turning, like playing the activity with very limited instructions, and it was very natural. And that's what we've seen with our patients is when you get them in this immersive tech, it and they're grocery shopping, right? They're shopping, they're looking for things, they're visually scanning, very dynamic and very therapeutic from a clinical standpoint. It was, again, a lot of fun to see that.
Yeah, I agree. And we kind of had a big range of people who had tried VR before, who had never put on a VR headset. Would love to know from the people here if you have or have never tried VR before, whether you may have had a chance to stop by our booth at AOTA and try it out. I know we had a lot of first timers that had never experienced immersive environments. And so experiencing that for the first time, and then also thinking about the clinical relevance for the various settings that people were in, whether it was how to integrate it into curriculum in academia or to use it for patient treatment in acute care settings, in skilled nursing facilities. Again, really wide range of what we saw at the conference. So if you did get a chance to try it out, we'd love to hear your experience in the chat. But then also, if you've never tried VR before, let us know that too.
So let's see. So an interesting thing that I thought about too, and I started up with neuro rehab VR essentially through a neuro outpatient clinic, and I'm a PTA, so neuro rehab had their own spot because there was such it was quite the setup. Like they had wires, sensors, a laptop that was streaming the activity so the therapist could see. So the initial start 10 years ago or nearly 10 years ago was this wired setup a lot, and now as you can see, like the previous video, you had someone just with a headset, and it's a different kind of tracking system, and it's really improved how we our ability to be in different clinics and the setups. I mean, it's quick. We were able to get people in like 20 seconds and get started with an intervention. Whereas this, it was fun, and it was my first time trying virtual reality. Was with neuro rehab, and I was sold. Like I bought a PSVR for home so I could play games. I was like, this is amazing, and my patients saw a big difference in it. So again, it's really cool to reflect and see how far we've come. Like I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, VR itself been around for a minute, but Neuro Rehab VR was kind of created at the infancy of virtual reality in any sort of healthcare setting. And so it's been really cool to learn with the industry as VR technology has continued to evolve, and then how we as a company have continued to evolve also. As you can see in this video, this hardware looks very different than the solution that we currently have today. Some of the limitations with maybe where we started was, if you're a clinician, you know, if you're setting up for a patient session and it takes you more than a minute or two to get some technology up and working, and you have to troubleshoot or have the space requirements, there's maybe a little bit less of a likelihood that that's going to fit really seamlessly into a day-to-day workflow for you in your patient sessions. And so that was one of the biggest takeaways that we as a company had over the last several years. And if Chris, you go to the next slide, you can see kind of what we landed on today. Our solution is, like Chris mentioned, 20 seconds at a time to put on the headset to select a patient or an activity and then start therapy right away. It's very seamless in terms of how it's designed to be used. And then also, with the nature of the simplicity of the design, it's very portable. And we work in a variety of different settings where maybe clinicians are taking it to the patient bedside, or maybe they practice home therapy and they want a solution that they can take with them on the road to the patient's house where they don't have a lot of space. And so the minimal space requirements, the minimal setup time, and also the ability to connect not to Wi-Fi but to a hotspot, and so you're not having to worry about connectivity. These types of things are lessons that we as a company have learned since we started almost a decade ago, and that's been a learning process with our customers as well. One of the, I would say, main concerns that I heard at the conference, and Chris, I think same for you, was initial hesitation to try virtual reality because of the belief that it's going to make me dizzy, I'm going to feel motion sickness, or people who maybe have had prior experiences with immersive environments and there was that feeling of dizziness or motion sickness. So that did lead to maybe initial hesitation to try RVR, and I know that we were able to kind of work around it a little bit. But Chris, I would love to hear from you as a clinician to understand why that happens in VR, why people get that feeling of motion sickness, and then how we've kind of mitigated that.
Well, I think being at AOTA, like when they said that, oh no, I'm gonna get sick. I said, well, a lot of times they've done it, and I was like, well, what did you do in virtual reality? And sometimes like they did a roller coaster or something like crazy because it's fun, I guess. And but it can trigger. I get car sick, so it's similar in that motion sickness or cyber sickness is how it's termed in VR, is essentially conflicting signals, right? We have our body telling us our proprioceptive inputs, our vestibular system saying, hey, we're not moving, and our vision is telling us, hey, we're probably moving on a roller coaster with the VR. You're seeing movement, but the brain is not interpreting that. So then there's conflicting signals causing nausea and all that fun stuff. Like, but one thing that we've done is not all VR environments are the same. They're static environments. We have a rhythm based, our grocery shop. We have many of ours are static based, and we've improved the latency, right? So if I'm reaching for something in VR, it better match the movement of my hand speed too. Otherwise, those conflicting signals can throw things off. If I turn my head, it better move fluid in the VR environment as well. And that's things that I know we've sought to overcome and we've improved upon with our activities. And yeah, the types of environments matter too. But all in all, yeah, we've come a long way, and it's a very stable environment. And those people that we got in and we got to try, I maybe had them do one like the rhythm one. I'm like, oh, that was actually fun. I feel good. I feel fine. So we were able to change some people's perspective and their beliefs on whether that's going to actually make them sick or not. So we were able to educate a little more on that.
Yeah, I agree. It was really cool to change some perceptions of how it actually feels to be in immersive environments. And then I think that goes hand in hand with interest in using technology like this for patient care. And we've started to see more and more clinics and hospitals and academic institutions that have initiatives around innovative technology and integrating that into student learning or patient care. And when kind of tackling that misconception of all VR leads to dizziness or motion sickness, then I think that goes hand in hand with interest in exploring what this could look like as technology continues to integrate and supplement the work that's being done in patient care and in academia.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this is people were more willing. Perceptions shifted, and you can see some people were blown away. It was, yeah, it's cool to see that. And so when you think about, what's the leverage point that virtual reality essentially can hone in for our patients, and it's simulation training, right? So we have, something like a cooking sequencing task, and again, we're practicing those movements for the patients to get those skills to be able to translate it to real life. So you don't have the whole kitchen right now. You're in a hospital room, right? Like they're at their bed. Hey, how can we get you involved and engaged and motivated to try something? Well, let's make it salient. Let's make it meaningful for them. And in virtual reality, again, you can just literally transport them to another environment and work on certain skills. Yes, it doesn't. I'm not gonna probably not be able to cook a steak. I'm probably gonna be a little tough after this if I just practice in VR. It does take that real life experience, but this is a good way to translate that, hospital acute care all the way to independence. And we
Yeah,
have
right.
other ADLs like that, right?
Hmm. Yeah, this was definitely a big category of interest at the AOTA conference. And I know I mentioned our solution kind of has a broad range of types of activities, but the ADLs, whether it was cooking or laundry or some of our newer ones that we recently came out with, it was really cool to see clinicians and faculty members alike get in the headset and experience the daily task of minimal space requirement, but also getting those reps in and practicing sequencing, following those sequence based task lists. And yeah, that was very cool theme at
And
the
and,
AOTA conference.
and a lot of it was like they could like, and that's one thing I noticed is people weren't questioning whether VR worked. They're like, how can I use it with my patient? And when they tried it themselves, they could really see, oh, I could use it with this patient, and it's one of those, now it's the how, not the why VR, but how do I use it for patient care? And we're able to, educate them on that with our solution.
Yeah, right. In a variety of different settings too,
Yeah.
it was really cool. And you spoke to a lot of this, the recreating kind of those daily living tasks without needing the full setup and independence, regaining independence. It's a huge part of rehab and recovery, and it's really motivating and empowering for patients to also feel like they're regaining independence and able to work towards objective daily living tasks. So we see a lot of empowerment coming back to patients who are progressing in our ADL scenarios.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of it too is we we we're here because of the feedback we've gotten from other clinics. We started out in a neuro outpatient clinic, right? We had patients with strokes, spinal cord injuries, traumatic brain injuries, and they were like, "Well, what would matter to you?" So it was geared that way, and then we were fueled by clinician feedback, and that's something that, I mean, the question that I would ask is like, what are some things in this, like, that clinicians, if you are here, or educators, that you would like to see in VR, and how you would like to see it work in practice? I think that would be good feedback for us. Again, my mindset as a PTA is, patient first, try to like, what's the most benefit, what can motivate them, what can get them independent faster. And, that's
Yeah.
why I'm here on VR. I think it does
Mhm.
help.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point. I think it's totally worth noting that our roadmap for how we progress as a company and what we build out in house with our software and how we partner with our customers is solely dictated by the feedback and the requests that we get from the clinicians and the educators that we work with. So we always welcome that feedback and are interested to hear from who we work with, what's important in a solution. And I think that's been a really unique approach for us to be able to tailor a product that our customers need across the board with patient engagement. It's keeping patients engaged. It's fun for the patients. It's making clinicians' lives easier with it seamlessly integrating quickly into workflows and being really intuitive and easy to use. And then also our documentation features of allowing for the progress tracking of patients over time. How are they progressing towards functional outcomes? Or for educators in academia, how are we exposing and introducing technology like this to students who may experience treating patients across a variety of different settings with technology like this. So it's been really cool to continue to evolve how we build out our activities based off of what we hear is important to people. So if you're here and have a thought on that, would love to hear that too.
Yeah, kind of noting this like image here, like, I mean, again, we're not the most special, but I think we've worked hard and to develop a good product that can actually help see results for the patients. And the versatility and the creativity of, like, I was in a clinic where, the PTs, the OTs, they were doing some like interesting creative ways of getting those goals for their patients. And again, VR is like it's another modality on steroids. It's like you can do it for so many different things. You can use it with, robotic gait trainer or parallel bars and many different things. And that's what I love about it, is that it's not limited just to the headset. It's limited to, some creativity aspects that, the therapist can consider of, okay, how would I use this? I like
Mhm.
this movement. How can I integrate it into a standing frame?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, we kind of covered a lot of
Yeah, we
this,
covered
but
this.
this is how we've sort of evolved our activities, but keeping those kind of main pillars in mind. Um, and I think a big theme for us has also, you've probably heard it a couple of times in this webinar so far, but ease of use and how easy it's designed to be. So it's intuitive for the person wearing the headset. They're in the headset, and it's pretty intuitive what the objective of the activity is, but then also for the clinician, having overlap with clinical objectives and having it be easily manageable to in real time adjust the levels of intensity and observe what the patient's experiencing so that they can work towards their therapy goals, is where we see a lot of that benefit come in. So as we've continued to evolve our hardware and our actual activities, the software, over time, the things that have remained are keeping things easy to use, quick to set up, intuitive for clinicians and patients. And then it's most important to have it be seamlessly integrated into a therapist's workflow, so that if if a hospital system or if a clinic or if a university is investing in technology like this, it's important that that team reaches their usage and adoption goals, and you're achieving what your objectives are for an initiative like that. And so that's part of kind of our support model too, is to be really hands on with how we help you reach those goals.
Well said. Well said. I think, let me see. Here we go. Sorry, I jumped
Okay.
ahead. um, but yeah, I mean, it's the case where, I mean, I even think like having like, and our clinicians have videos, and just being able to show the different ways to use it. I love these videos. Let's see. And oh yeah, and the fact that we've had over like 100,000 sessions and going, right? It's amazing. Like, we have our real clinicians using it for their patients, seeing those results, and we're able to test and refine it. We get the customer feedback, and we mentioned it, but I take that in, and we try to put it into development. I talk to our dev team on how can we improve this, how can we make this easier to use. So we've come just a long way, and it's based on that customer feedback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also how we've built out our engagement model in whole with onboardings and tutorials to show best practices for how to create therapy plans, or next steps for progressing patients towards functional goals, as well as educational materials. Kind of the whole gamut of the things that build confidence are having a trusted partner that has been around, has completed these sessions in real clinical environments, and knows what works based off of the feedback that we get. So yeah, well said. It's really the real world applicability that we've only had through experience. It's all been from our tenure in the space and how we've been around. And I think that's a theme with technology as it's becoming more common in clinical settings. Is it's reassuring to have the credibility of that experience over the years. And as we wrap up, if any of what we spoke about today connects with you and your goals or your upcoming initiatives, and really just you in your own setting or interested in learning more or having more of a conversation, we would love to connect with you. One of the common questions that we heard, especially at AOTA, which was a lot of academia, was how do we partner with academic institutions for student learning or for clinical research? And so that's definitely a conversation that we're more than happy to have, because we love partnering with academic institutions. And honestly, all of those partnerships look totally different depending on what the university's goals of that particular program are. So feel free to scan that QR code to book a time to learn a little bit more as well.
And something that I work on personally and I've helped to develop is our we have a few CEU courses. One that we have is the VR Foundations course, and this 40% off for joining here. Um, but yeah, it's a deeper dive into virtual reality and how we've talked about reps, engagement, motivation, but what is the research saying in depth, and it's a good starter for people to understand how VR as a whole has influenced rehab. And so it's I enjoy doing it. It's an online course. You can join, and I think we're having one next week.
Yeah, 21st.
Yeah,
Next
yeah.
one is the 21st.
Well, awesome. All right.
Cool. That is all we have for the webinar today. It's been great to continue to explore some of those themes that we uncovered at AOTA, and honestly just where the conversations are at across VR in a variety of different settings, and continuing to explore how we are making an impact in that space and where people are interested in seeing it go continuing in the future. But thanks everybody for taking the time to join today.
And I believe that was the promo code. AOTA promo is what you would
Oh,
enter
the CU credit.
for the course. Yes. So write that down.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you everyone. Hope you enjoyed this. Good,
Yeah, and
Alex.
have a great rest of your week.
All right.